Good morning. I am Dr. K. Deenalish Jayanti, Professor, Department of ECE, PSND College of Engineering and Technology. Today's lecture is about microwave tubes. This topic is coming under the RF and microwave engineering. Before going into deep about these microwave tubes, the lecture is organized in this way. First, the introduction of microwaves. What is microwave? And the definition of the microwave, and advantage of the microwave, and application of the microwave, and how the microwave is generated. Second one, the high frequency limitation of conventional tubes. How the microwave can be generated, cannot be generated, that is not generated with the help of conventional tubes. What is the limitation of the conventional tubes, and what are all the microwave tubes available in the market? That is the types of microwaves, and a specific type of microwave tube is reflex klystron. We are going to discuss in deep about this reflex klystron, that is mechanism of operation, then mode of oscillation, and also the power output and efficiency. And also we are going to discuss about the biological effects of microwaves. First, the introduction of microwaves is going in this way. We analyze the electromagnetic spectrum, that is widespread from low frequency to the very high frequency. The entire electromagnetic spectrum is divided into two, that is ionizing radiation and non-ionizing radiation. In this, microwave is the heart of the electromagnetic spectrum. All applications are lying in the microwave range of frequency. If we see from low frequency, power signals, low frequency signal, radio signals, radio waves, but microwave is occupying the very important band of 1 GHz to the 1000 GHz range of frequency, and this ionizing radiation is occupying greater than 100 GHz of frequency. And why this microwave is very important, this band of frequency is important, and what is its application, what is its advantage, all commercial, defense and the communication applications are utilizing this microwave band of frequency. We will see the definition of microwave. Generally, a signal is studied or characterized by the wavelength. The microwave signal wavelength is ranging from few centimeters to the millimeters, and the frequency range is 1 GHz to the 1000 GHz. And the advantage of this signal, microwave signal, is mainly the power requirement. The power requirement of the microwave signal is very less compared to the low frequency signal. And the second advantage is it has a wide bandwidth. Hence, all the applications can lie under this range, because many signal can be transmitted or more information can be transmitted over a single carrier. So all the wireless applications, broadcasting applications are coming under this advantage. And the signal has more directive property. The microwave signal can be propagated freely through the atmosphere because it is not reflected by the ionosphere, it is directly transmitted to the atmosphere. And the signal has less fading effect. The attenuation is very less for the microwave signal, and the signal quality is very good, and the signal is more reliable. With these advantages, we can see what are the main applications of the microwaves. When the microwave is existent in the life, during the World War II only. During the World War II, the microwave engineering became the most popular in the development of high frequency, high resolution radars in the detection and also tracking of the enemy planes, aeroplanes, and also ships through a narrow beam of electromagnetic radiation. With the start in the World War II, it has entered into many fields. The famous fields, we will say wireless communication applications, radar applications, remote sensing, RFID applications, broadcasting, heating, and also biomedical application. If we analyze these applications, why the microwave signal is most important in this? Main because of the short wavelength and high bandwidth, right? Generally, if we see the wireless communication applications, satellite applications, a microwave signals I told you it is not reflected by the ionosphere. Hence, a satellite is needed to locate in the atmosphere and it reflect back towards the ground, earth stations. And the signal quality is very good and the bandwidth of the microwave signal is very high. Hence, we can transmit more information over a single communication link. This plays a major role because this high bandwidth it is utilized in the wireless communication applications. And also we need the space communication, the cell phones, all we are using a microwave range of frequency. Example is GSM, 0.9 gigahertz and also 1.9 GSM. The GSM standard is coming under the microwave band of frequency. Radar and navigation. The antenna size is a major problem in the radar applications. Why the antenna size is a major problem? I told you the frequency of the signal is very high. It is operating from 1 gigahertz to the higher range of frequency, and mainly we'll talk about the wavelength is lambda is equal to c by f. We know if the frequency is increased, the lambda size will be very small. If we design an antenna for low frequency, the antenna size will be very big, right? When the signal frequency is very high, antenna size will be very small. Hence, the design of the antenna depends on the signal frequency. The radar applications, we are using in the high range of frequency because we need to locate the antenna with the airborne, that is aeroplanes, and also the radar that is mounted on the top of the airborne vehicles. For that, the antenna size should be less. When the frequency is moving to the very high frequency, the size of the antenna will be small. Hence, it is very suitable for radar and navigation applications also, the GPS also, and the remote sensing. Easily we can locate the marine traffic and also the mining applications, land surface measurement applications we can go for, and the very famous radio frequency identification application also. We can track the animal in the forest, or we can go for the product tracking. Many applications are lying in this RFID range. And broadcasting applications, the TV broadcast, we told in the satellite applications, the transponder is needed to locate the atmosphere. This will receive a signal and reflect back to the ground station. So the direct broadcast satellite applications lying in this range. And mainly the commercial applications, the heating applications, industrial applications, for example baking, food process, microwave ovens, drying or remain by the heating. Because of the heating property of the microwave signal, food can be directly heated or any object can be directly heated. Example, we will take the attractive application microwave oven. In the microwave oven, a food is directly heated by the property of microwave heating without heating the container. And the drying applications, industrial drying application can be done at low temperature. This is the main important application, the heating. This can be done at low temperature. Drying can be done at low temperature. This is used in the rubber industry also. And the foremost application, very important application, is the biomedical application. It is used for microwave imaging techniques, that is MRI, magnetic resonance imaging. It is used for the diagnostic of breast cancer, tumors. There are many applications lying in the biomedical. See, if we analyze the application is very wide. The microwave application is very wide. All the communication applications and industrial, commercial application is lying in this category. So this is what the microwave important. Microwave engineering is most important and is a core area of the electronics and communication. Right. With this introduction, we will slowly drag into how to generate this microwave signal. Right. So the microwave signal is very important, most important, how to generate this microwave signal. Why the conventional method is not suitable to generate a microwave signal. So for that, we need to see what is the conventional tube first of all. What is actually a conventional tube? A vacuum tube, or it may consist of the diode, only 2 electrodes, positive and negative, or the triodes may have 3 electrodes, that is cathode, accelerating, grid and also anode. These are all the conventional tubes. Not only these two, diode, triode, pentode, there are so many conventional tubes are there, but these tubes have its own limitation. What is its limitation? This can operate only is below 1 gigahertz. Above 1 gigahertz, these conventional tube will not generate or will not operate in the high frequency. Why it does not operate? Because of the two problems, transit time effect and also the stray reactance. It is actually the transit time effect of the conventional tube or any tube structures. The time taken for an electron to travel from cathode to the anode at low frequency. This is sufficient. At low frequency, that is period of time, the signal electron is emitted from the cathode and it travels through the accelerating grid. Accelerating grid will accelerate the speed of the electron and it travels towards the anode and it is received in the anode. It is working. This is the transit time. But what will happen for a high frequency signal? If we want to operate the same device, conventional tube, in the high frequency, what will happen is the electron is actually emitted from the cathode. But if the electron is transmitted towards the grid, due to the appreciable transit time of the high frequency signal, the grid will become negatively charged potential. This will repel the electron back. Hence, the electron will not traverse towards the anode and is not received at the anode. Hence, the cathode electron is emitted from the cathode, it is accelerated, right? By the time it reaches the grid, it will become negative potential. Hence, the electron is not received at the anode. That is the main problem. So, it never reaches the anode. There is no propagation, there is no generation, signal generation is happening. Then the transit time effect is a major problem in the high frequency. When we analyze another point, stray reactance. Stray reactance is due to the lead wire inductance and the inter-electrode capacitance. The lead wire play a major role in the conventional tube. The lead wire inductance will change the input admittance of the circuit. It will alter the input admittance, hence the operation efficiency of the device decreases. And the inter-electrode capacitance will be parallel to the tuned circuit. This also reduces the tube efficiency. The transit time effect and also the stray reactance will affect the operation of the tube. So, what best we can do above 1 gigahertz? One solution we can do with the stray capacitance or the stray reactance and the inter-electrode capacitance is we can place the inter-electrodes a wide apart. Or we can reduce the size of the electrode. If the size of the electrode is reduced, the power handling capability of the device again reduces. Hence, both the effect will reduce the operating efficiency of the tube. Hence, the conventional tube will not operate at a high frequency. Hence, in this situation, we have to design a new structure for the microwave. So, the generation of the microwaves. The only one solution is the new design is the microwave tubes. What is actually the exact design of the microwave tubes? We have to solve the two problems, transit time effect and also the stray reactance effect. The inventors, researchers, they given the solution, not now, in 1937 itself. It's a Russell, Varian and also Professor Randall and Camphor, they introduced the microwave tubes. They have given a new structure for the generation of the microwave signal. These are the popular microwave tubes available in the market. One is klystron, another one is traveling wave tube and another one is magnetron. First one, the klystron we will see. The klystron, again it is classified into two types. One is reflex klystron, another one is multi-cavity klystron. Reflex klystron is a low power oscillator, but multi-cavity klystron is a low power amplifier. But this traveling wave tube is a high gain amplifier and the magnetron is high power amplifier and also it will work as an oscillator, high power oscillator. These are all the major and the popular microwave tubes available in the market. Our aim is to discuss about one of the microwave tube in deep, that is the klystron. The klystron, I told you there is a two types, reflex klystron and also a multi-cavity klystron. Reflex klystron is nothing but a single re-entrant cavity oscillator, microwave oscillator. This is the actual reflex klystron diameters, right? This is the physical size of the reflex klystron. It is a roof size. This is the physical structure of the reflex klystron. We have to analyze, make an analysis only in the equivalent circuit. So for that we need to see what is the reflex klystron oscillator equivalent circuit. This is actually the equivalent circuit of the reflex klystron oscillator. If we see the equivalent circuit, the structure has a cathode and accelerating grid. Then we have a single reentrant cavity, that is the cavity is provided. This is the single reentrant cavity and there is a signal pickup and also the signal is supplied to this point. Then this is the repeller plate provided. Normally I told you in the conventional tube there is a cathode, accelerating grid and also the repeller. Now what is the difference between the conventional and the reflex klystron oscillator? We have a cathode similar and we have accelerating grid and we have a reentrant cavity is introduced in between and we have a repeller plate. If we see the potential applied, cathode is always supplied by the negative potential V voltage and we have accelerating grid and we have a cavity in between and the repeller's potential is negative. The aim is first the cathode is supplied by high beam voltage. High beam voltage is supplied to the cathode. The cathode will emit a beam of electrons from this and the purpose of accelerating grid is to accelerate the electrons. The electrons will get accelerated, then it travel towards the repeller. But the single reentrant cavity is there in between. This is supplied with a positive potential and the DC energy supplied to the cavity. This will introduce an RF noise inside the cavity. This is a very important point, the difference between conventional tube and this reflex klystron, right? The DC energy supplied to this cavity generates RF noise in the cavity circuit. Then the beam of electron is traveling to this point and here the repeller is a negative potential. What will happen? The beam of electron is traveling but the repeller potential is negative, so this will not collect the beam of electrons to the repeller. The aim of the repeller is to repel back the electron towards this cavity structure. Now, what is the principle behind the reflex klystron oscillator? The main principle is velocity modulation. The reflex klystron oscillator is operating under the principle of velocity modulation. When the beam of electron is traveling in this direction, a concept called velocity modulation is introduced. I want to explain what is actually the velocity modulation with the help of a small diagram. This is a negatively charged electron and this is the positive electrode and this is the direction of electric field. If an electron is introduced in this point, the negatively charged electron will be attracted towards a positively charged electrode and travels in the direction opposite to that of the electric field, will be accelerated and absorbing the energy. Accelerated or acceleration, that is, if a negatively charged electron is attracted by a positively charged electrode and traveling in the direction opposite to that of the electric field, will be accelerated by absorbing the DC energy. But an electron is traveling in the same direction of the electric field and this will be repelled by the negatively charged plate, will be decelerated. The action taken is deceleration. The electron is decelerated by giving up the energy to the field. Hence, one electron may be accelerated, another electron may be decelerated. And if it is traveling with the neutral, it will not change its velocity. This is a concept called velocity modulation. This is applied in the reflex klystron oscillator. Coming back to the equivalent circuit of this one. In this point only there is a velocity modulation is going to happen. How this is going to happen? In this, right? From the cathode, the electron beam is generated and this is traveling in this point. I told you, the cavity is supplied by the DC energy. This DC energy is introducing an RF noise in the cavity gap. This is the DC energy, that is the electric field I told you to operate on the electron beam. This DC energy or the RF noise is operated on the electron beam. Hence, the supplied electron will be split into 3 groups. One group of electron may be accelerated, another group of electron is traveling with its own velocity and another group of electron is decelerated. Why there is 3 group of electrons? Because an AC signal has 3 points. One is a positive peak, another one is a zero crossing point, another one is the deceleration negative peak. When it encounters a positive peak, the electron will be accelerated. When it encounters a zero crossing, it will be traveling with its original velocity. When it encounters a negative cycle, it is decelerated. This is the concept of velocity modulation. This is utilized in the structure. That is what we discussed. These passing through, electrons passing through the cavity gap experiences a velocity modulation, right? When it is experiencing the velocity modulation, right, we have 3 groups of electrons. These velocity modulated electrons will be repelled back by the cavity repeller due to the negative potential. We have a detailed circuit diagram . A cathode supplied by a negative potential Vk, and this is the accelerating grid. Accelerating grid. Here the beam of electrons are supplied. At the highest point there is a repeller plate. And in the center the very important resonant single reentrant resonant cavity structure is there. This is a resonant cavity. Here we have an RF output. From this point, the generation of electron beam is happening. Our interest is only 3 groups. For example, the RF noise applied here with the help of a potential, that is V0. V0 negative is connected to the electron gun, and the repeller is also supplied by a potential called negative potential VR. The negative potential, the negative battery, all these points are connected here. This is a repeller plate. Now the RF energy, DC energy applied here is traveling in this point, and we need to draw, we need a positive peak A, zero crossing B, and we need to have a deceleration point C. And all the electrons are collected at the positive peak of the RF cycle. Now if we see the structure, this is a repeller distance, and this gap, the size of this gap is nothing but a distance d, and at the reference point we can represent the transit time of the electron as T0. This is the total transit time of the electron, and in this point the transit time T is equal to 0, and in this point the transit time T is equal to Tb. And this is the cavity anode. Name of the structure is the cavity anode A. This is the electron gun. So the structure consists of, we have seen a small equivalent circuit in the previous diagram. This is the detailed equivalent circuit. The structure consists of an electron gun. The supply of electron is going to happen, and this will be the accelerating grid, is a positive potential applied to accelerate the beam of electrons, and the beam of electron is split into three, right? Three group. This is the cavity, single cavity. In this, there is a DC supply is energized. This will create the RF. I have drawn this diagram this is the RF noise induced in the cavity, that is not in the previous diagram. So this is the RF noise introduced in this one, and when it encounters these 3 points is nothing but the velocity modulation concept. One group of electron which encountered the positive cycle will be accelerated. Another group of electron at the 0 RF field encounters travel with the original velocity, and C group of electron will be decelerated. All these velocity modulated electrons will be collected at the positive peak of the RF cycle. This time period is the T0. These electrons are bunched together and is collected at the positive peak at the cavity anode. When the loss of energy or the kinetic energy of the electron is transferred to the cavity, when this power delivered is equal to the loss in the cavity at this particular moment, microwave oscillation is started. Right? When the bunched electrons is collected at the positive peak, the loss power delivered is equal to the power loss, microwave oscillation is started in this moment. We need to calculate, or we can practically say there is a happening, velocity modulation is happening in the structure, but we have to prove it empirically how the velocity modulation is achieved with the help of a derivation or equation. What is the velocity? How? The 3 types of velocity is we have got, because the electron gun is supplied just a beam of electrons. These beam of electrons is split into 3. How this is done? How we can prove empirically this velocity modulation is happening in the structure? So for that we need to analyze a complete study of the structure by analyzing this velocity modulation and the transit time of the electron, then density modulation of the electron in the microwave tube structure. So for this, the mechanism of operation we discussed about these 3 groups. And we can call the microwave oscillation is started. When we need to study the mode of oscillation, right? Mode of oscillation is very important in the microwave tube. Why the mode of oscillation is very important? Because in order to collect all the beam of electrons towards a positive peak, we need to have a 2 adjustment only in our hand. One is the repeller plate can be adjusted and the repeller potential can be adjusted to collect all the velocity modulated electrons at the positive peak. That is the control we have in our hand when we operate the reflex klystron oscillator. That is the repeller distance L, and also the repeller potential can be adjusted to receive all the bunch of electrons. When we have a different repeller potential, will generate the different modes of oscillation. For each and every mode, we have a different microwave frequency is generated. We need to analyze where is the maximum power generated, right? So if we see the equation of the transit time of the electron at the reference electron is T0. The bunched electrons deliver the maximum power at any instant of the positive peak. When we analyze this T0, is expressed as the total time period is from this reference point to the positive peak will be n plus 3 by 4 into time period. N is analyzed as the mode of oscillation. We will substitute the real number n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. We will have 0, 3 by 4 or 3 by 4 t and 1, 3 by 4 t, 2, 3 by 4 t, etc. That is the mode of oscillation. We have 3 by 4th mode, 1, 3 by 4th mode, 2, 3 by 4th mode, etc. We can have more number of modes. 3 by 4th mode is the lowest order mode, but the large number of n play a highest order mode. When we see the transit time of the electron, if the transit time of the electron is very less, the speed of the electron will be very high. Hence, the lowest order mode will deliver the maximum power. It is obvious that the lowest order mode delivers maximum power because of the transit time. It is only 3 by 4 mode. Because of the operating efficiency and also the complexity of the tube, 3 by 4th mode is neglected, and we see the lowest order mode is 1, 3 by 4. Hence, we can say that how to generate the output, power output, high efficiency signal from the microwave tube. This analysis is made basis of velocity modulation, transit time, density modulation, beam current. By knowing the density modulation, beam current only, we can calculate what is the power output and what is the efficiency of the microwave tube. So for that we need to analyze what is velocity modulation. We have discussed with the equivalent circuit, but we have to empirically derive what is the value for velocity modulation. We need to have a basic assumption to derive the velocity modulation. The basic assumptions are the cavity grid and the repeller plate are parallel. Repeller plate is at the top of the structure and the cavity grid is at the lower side. These two should be parallel and should be large to collect. And there is no aura field is excited in the repeller space. And there is no electron interception by the cavity anode grid, and there is no debunching action takes place at the cavity space because all the electrons should be bunched in the cavity gap. There should not be any debunching action, and the potential applied V1 RF energy should be far less than the DC beam voltage V0. So this is the RF energy, this is the DC beam potential. So the V1 should be very far less than the DC potential V0. So based on these assumptions, we have to see what is velocity modulation. So we will have a small derivation for the velocity modulation. The empirical analysis of the velocity modulation is started with the velocity of the electron. Velocity modulation, it is denoted as U, it is U of Tg. We will see what it is. First, the initial velocity of the electron. Initial velocity of electron is nothing but U0 is 2eV0 divided by m is root. E is the charge of the electron, V0 is a DC beam potential and m is the mass of the electron. Next, what is the instantaneous RF voltage? The instantaneous RF voltage we have represented as V of t, that is in terms of V1 sin omega t. Any signal can be represented in terms of the amplitude and sin omega t. This V1 sin omega t. Now we can say that V1 sin omega t will be the RF voltage. Next, the transit time. The transit time of electron, that is Tg, is d divided by u0. Actually, what is d? In the diagram we have represented the cavity gap size is d and u0 is the initial velocity of the electron. This is the transit time of the electron, and the transit angle we can represent as theta g. This theta g is omega into Tg. We have a transit time and the transit angle is omega Tg. By knowing the V average potential, we can calculate what is U of Tg. V average is nothing but 1 over the Tg, 0 to Tg, V1 sin omega t dt. So we can integrate, we can substitute the RF potential, by that we can calculate what is V average. So if we integrate this one, we can take the V1 as outside, V1 divided by Tg, and the sin omega t is integrated minus cos omega t 0 to Tg divided by omega. Sin, if we integrate the sin omega, we will have a cos minus cos omega t divided by omega, and the limit is 0 to Tg. If we substitute the lower and upper limit, V1 divided by omega Tg, this will become minus cos omega Tg minus cos 0. So that will become plus. So this will be cos 0. So the equation will be V1 divided by omega Tg. This will become 1 minus cos omega Tg. From the trigonometric formula we can write this 1 minus cos omega Tg as, or 1 minus cos theta is nothing but 2 sin square theta by 2. So we can express this one as omega Tg to sin square omega Tg divided by 2. We can bring this 2 to the denominator of this omega Tg. So we can rewrite this as sin square omega Tg by 2. Denominator is omega Tg by 2. We know the transit angle is omega Tg. Theta g is nothing but omega Tg. So we can substitute this as V1, then sin square theta g by 2 divided by theta g by 2. Or we can express the V average equation as V1 in terms of another notation beta 1 and sin theta g by 2. As an expression for V average. Why the beta 1 is introduced now? What is the beta 1 from this expression? Beta 1 is nothing but sin 1 of the theta g by 2 divided by theta g by 2. This expression is nothing but we can call this as beam coupling coefficient. A beam coupling coefficient, a parameter we can define in this. This is V1 beta 1 sin theta g by 2 is the V average potential, where the beta 1 is nothing but sin theta g by 2 divided by theta g by 2. That is the beam coupling coefficient of the signal. So where now we are operating this one, we are handling the velocity modulation. Just we have calculated the V average potential. We have to substitute the V average potential in the velocity modulation. The velocity modulation, what we term as u of Tg is nothing but u of Tg. We have to calculate based on this V average potential. So we can substitute V0 plus V average divided by m. How this expression is written? The initial velocity of the electron is 2 root of 2e V0 divided by m. And this V0 is the DC beam voltage. But here it is revised as we have a V0 potential and also the V average potential. In order to calculate the velocity of the electron at the cavity gap is nothing but the u of Tg. This is the velocity modulated signal. It is nothing but velocity of electron at the cavity gap. Right? The cavity gap is u of Tg. Now, what we have to do from this expression, we have to substitute. We have calculated the V average. We have to substitute the V average in this equation. It will happen 2e V0. If the V0 is taken outside, we can write this is V average divided by V0 divided by m, the whole root. Just we are rewriting this expression, then we can substitute. We can make this separately 2e V0 divided by m, and this expression may be written as by substituting the V average, that is V1 beta 1 sin theta g by 2 divided by V0 and the whole power 1 by 2. Because we have a root, we have whole power 1 by 2. So what we have to do now? Now we know that root of 2e V0 divided by m is our initial velocity 2e V0 divided by m. So there is no change. Just we can directly use the u0, and here we have to redo this expression. If we see the expression, how we can analyze this expression from the help of the mathematics. Right? What is the mathematician says? 1 plus somewhat, there is a variable x. When 1 plus x to the whole power 1 by 2 is expanded using a binomial series. The binomial series says that 1 plus x the whole power 1 by 2 is 1 plus x divided by 2 factorial, x squared divided by 3 factorial, etc. It goes on. So we can use only first two terms. Why first two terms? If the value of the x is small, we can have only first two terms for the expression, make it simple. So what we can do? Just x divided by 2, 1 into 2, just 2. 1 plus x the whole power 1 by 2 can be substituted with the help of the binomial expansion as 1 plus x by 2. So with this property, what you can do? This one will become v1 beta 1 sin theta g by 2 divided by 2 v0. This expression will be appearing like this. Now we have an expression called u0 1 plus v1 into beta 1 divided by 2 v0, and this theta g by 2. Again we are going to rewrite this theta g by 2, the transit angle, as by adding a theta g and also subtracting the theta g. Theta g is nothing but, we have theta g is nothing but omega tg. We know theta g is omega tg. If we add and subtract, it will be balanced. So this will be sine omega tg minus omega tg plus theta g by 2. Already there is a theta g by 2 is available. So we can have make use of theta g, added theta g and subtracted theta g. In addition, you have a theta g already in your hand. So this is compensated. Now this expression, what will happen to this expression is, just we have omega tg. By solving these two, minus omega tg plus theta g by 2 will become minus theta g by 2. So this expression will become finalized as u of tg will become u naught 1 plus v1 beta 1 divided by 2 v naught sine omega tg minus theta g by 2. This is our expression for velocity modulation. What we can understand from this velocity modulation expression? What is the velocity modulation we have talked? The electron beam, separate electron beam is split into 3 groups. Right? So one group of electron will be accelerated, another group is decelerated and another is travelling with its original velocity. Now what is this expression says? If the u naught is multiplied inside, this will be u naught and the u naught multiplied by the second term. If this is again realized, this is split into 2. One is initial velocity, another group of electron travelling may be acceleration and another may be deceleration. So with this expression we can say u of tg is satisfied. We have a 3 group of electron if we expand further the second term. Hence we can say that this is the expression for velocity modulation. Okay, what is the use of having velocity modulation? We have to substitute somewhere else and we have to calculate what is exactly the power output is. So for that we need to analyze. Next is the transit time. Transit time of electron. This is represented as TR. The TR is the transit time of electron. The transit time of electron at the repeller space. Right? The transit time is calculated with the help of 2 velocity or u divided by a. It is a round trip time of an electron at the repeller space. Why round trip time? To and fro time of the electron. The electron is travelling from the cathode and it is reached towards the repeller and the repeller will repel back towards the cavity gap. Hence, there is a to and fro journey is happening. That is why the number 2 is added. Actually, it is velocity divided by the acceleration. Here, the 2 is added for the to and fro journey for the electron. Now, we know what is u. We have calculated with the help of velocity modulation, but we don't know what is acceleration. Acceleration is nothing but E into E divided by F. What is this one? The charge of the electron divided by the mass multiplied by the electric field applied. The electric field, how we can write the electric field? Electric field is nothing but, because we have all the potential in our hand. The DC beam voltage V0 and also the repeller potential VR. In addition to that, we have a V1 sin omega t. And the total repeller plate. Normally, field potential, electric field is nothing but voltage divided by the distance of travel. This repeller is the distance from the repeller plate to the cavity gap. So, we can have a substitution like this. But if we compare the normal basic assumption what we have analyzed is, or what we have assumption we made is, V1 is far less than V0. So, if we compare this expression, the V1 sin omega t will be, the term is very small compared to these two, V0 and the VR. V0 is the DC beam voltage I told you and VR is the repeller potential. Hence, this is rewritten or approximated as E divided by M. This will become V0 plus VR divided by L. So, the acceleration is nothing but E divided by M, V0 plus VR divided by L. So, we have to substitute this acceleration in this expression. So, what we have to do? The TR is nothing but 2 U of Tg divided by this acceleration is E into V0 plus VR and we can bring this ML to the numerator. Now we have already derived an expression for u of tg. What is the expression? That expression is 2 u naught multiplied by v1 beta 1 divided by 2 v naught. We have sine omega tg minus theta g by 2. This is the expression we derive from the velocity modulation. Now we have an expression like this, v naught plus vr, and in the numerator we have ml. Please see, this is the transit time expression. What we can do with this transit time expression? We have expression like this. Now, if we analyze the similarity between the transit time of this repeller space and the similarity of this transit time at present, we have 2 into u naught multiplied by ml and divided by e into v naught plus vr. If this is replaced, or if the u of tg is replaced by u naught, this will become the transit time of the reference electron. So what we can do is, if we analyze the transit time of the reference electron, the transit time of reference electron is termed as T naught. The T naught is nothing but 2 u naught divided by acceleration. Always the transit time is the round trip time of the electron, or the reference electron is twice that of the initial velocity divided by the acceleration. Hence, again if you substitute for the a, what will happen? This will become 2 u naught. Acceleration is nothing but e into v naught plus vr multiplied by ml. Now, if we see this expression 2 u naught ml divided by this expression is nothing but we can replace this part and also the denominator with the help of T naught we have in our hand. Hence, the TR will become, what will happen to the TR? The TR will become, it is T naught into 1 plus V1 beta 1 divided by 2V naught sine omega Tg minus theta g by 2. This is our expression for the transit time of the electron at the repeller space. Now this is okay. Now the electron is lying in the repeller space. But what is our aim? The electron has to reach the cavity gap. For that we need to again calculate what is the transit time of the electron at the cavity gap. That is the exit time, arrival at the cavity gap. For that we need to see what is the density modulation. The density modulation is the next one. We are going to reach the power output and also a beam current. We need to calculate the density modulation beam current with the help of the transit time. So for that we need to see what is TB. TB is again what? So many terms we have introduced. One is the T naught, that is the reference electron transit time. Another one is the TR, transit time of the electron in the repeller space. Now we have again introduced TB. In addition to that we have another term we talked about TG, that is a transit time at the cavity gap. So there are so many T. Here this TB is nothing but a combination of two, that is TG plus TR we have. What is TG? Now this TB is nothing but transit time of electron at cavity gap. Cavity gap. That is the time of arrival. The last time we are going to calculate the time TB. TB is nothing but transit time at the gap before it is phasing modulation. Next one is after velocity modulation. What is the transit time of the electron? That is TR. We have calculated the TR. Just we are going to substitute here. What will happen? This will become TG and the TR expression is T naught 1 plus V1 beta 1 divided by 2 V naught sine omega Tg minus theta g by 2. This is the expression we have. What we can do? Just we can bring the T naught inside. This will become Tg plus T naught plus T naught multiplied by V1 beta 1 divided by 2 V naught, then sine omega Tg minus theta g by 2. We have a parameter like this. Now we need to see what is this T naught. So the T naught we have seen is the transit time of the reference electron. That is nothing but, just we recap that equation, that is 2 into just U naught ml divided by E into V multiplied by V naught plus VR. This is the transit time of the reference electron. So that we can have a mode of oscillation multiplied by the time period, or the time period can be substituted as 2 pi by omega. So the expression will be 2 pi n divided by omega. We will have a substitution for the T naught as in terms of the time. Right? If we analyze in terms of the time, this equation will be rewritten. So what we have to do, just make a substitution for the T naught. This will become 2 pi n divided by omega, and again this will be 2 pi n divided by omega, and we have V1 beta 1 2 V naught multiplied by sin omega Tg minus theta g by 2. So what best we can do, just only we can cancel the 2, that's all. Now what does our expression says? The expression, the left hand side is Tb, the right hand side is Tg plus 2 pi n divided by omega plus pi into n V1 beta 1 divided by omega into V naught sin omega Tg minus theta g by 2. This is our expression. Here what we have to do is, like your beam coupling coefficient, we are introducing another parameter called bunching parameter. Bunching parameter is defined as x pi n beta 1 V1 divided by V naught. This is the bunching parameter. Due to this only a bunching action takes place. A bunching parameter. Right? What will happen to this expression? Tb will be Tg plus again 2 pi n divided by omega plus x divided by omega sin omega Tg minus theta Tg by 2. We have an expression like this. With this transit time, what best we can do? Our aim is we need to calculate what is the beam current. So if we take a derivative, first derivative of the time with respect to the Tg, you will end up with this. What will happen is, just we are going to differentiate the Tb with respect to Tg. That is dTb divided by dTg. Just this equation is taken first derivative with respect to the Tg. We are going to differentiate with respect to the Tg. What will happen? The Tg will become is a variable. We are differentiating with respect to the Tg. So this will become just 1. Next 2 pi n divided by omega is constant. So this will become 0. And next is x divided by omega multiplied by a sine term. If we differentiate this one, this will become cos and multiplied by omega. So this will become x divided by omega. This will become cos omega Tg minus theta g by 2 multiplied by omega. So what is omega is cancelled. Now we have an expression 1 plus x cos omega Tg minus theta g by 2. This is the expression. So what is the use of this expression? The use of this expression is twofold. Just the IB, beam current, can be calculated. The beam current is nothing but the ratio of the initial current supplied by the beam voltage and also to the rate of change of the transit time of the electron at the gap. That is I naught divided by dTb divided by dTg. We have already calculated this denominator. So we can substitute I naught divided by this expression, or we can write I naught multiplied by 1 plus x cos omega Tg minus theta g by 2 the whole inverse. The numerator is taken, so denominator is taken to the numerator. So I naught multiplied by 1 plus x cos omega Tg minus theta g by 2. This is the expression for the beam current. It is very critical. We cannot solve the I naught multiplied by this expression. So this is solved with the help of the Fourier expansion only. So what is the Fourier expansion of this equation says? The Fourier expansion is bringing a solution for this one. to use the Bessel function again. So the IB is taken as I naught. The solution for this one is 2 I naught summation of n is equal to 1 to infinite. Then Jn of nx cos omega tg minus theta g by 2. This is a Fourier expansion of IB. Fourier expansion of IG. And this IB is solved as I naught plus 2 I naught, and for the Bessel order of first function, that is J1 of x cos omega Tg minus theta g by 2, and the next order 2 I naught J1 of n, that is Jn of x cos omega Tg minus theta g by 2. And if we say the beam current, a long expression like this, and we can have, and what is the R of power taken from this one? The R of power taken from this one is 2 I naught beta 1 J1 of x. This is the R of power. We are going to end up with the beam current and also the power output. Right? This is the magnitude of the IRF. If we take the absolute value of that one, right, we'll have a cos omega t term is neglected. And what is the power delivered? R of power delivered to this one is the RMS value of the power, that is V1 IRF divided by 2. So we have to substitute what is the IRF. That is V1 we have IRF is nothing but 2 I naught beta 1 J1 of x divided by 2. So the 2 will get cancelled. But we don't know what is the V1. So the V1 can be substituted with the help of the bunching parameter. The bunching parameter we have described x is equal to pi n V1 beta 1 divided by V0. The V1 is x into V0 divided by pi n and beta 1. So we have to substitute the V1 as x into V0 divided by pi n beta 1, then we have I naught beta 1 J1 of x. So we can cancel the beta 1. We have only x into V0. So the PRF is V0 I naught x into J1 of x divided by pi into n. And the DC power delivered can be expressed as the voltage, DC beam voltage and the current. Hence, the ratio of the R of power to the DC power is nothing but the efficiency of the tube. So, the efficiency of the tube is PRF divided by PDC. Hence, this will become V I naught and I, that is numerator of V naught I naught and this denominator of V naught I naught will get cancelled. So we have x into J1 of x divided by pi into n. The value of the first order, first kind of the Bessel function as substituted, x into J1 of x value is actually 1.252. At the maximum value of x into J1 of x is 1.252. For the dominant mode of the rectangular waveguide, the x is equal to 2.408. Hence, this is substituted here, and this is denominator as pi into n. The value of this 1.252 divided by pi is nothing but 0.3986 divided by capital N. In the starting point itself, we have described the mode of oscillation. The n, the lowest order mode possible is nothing but 1 3 by 4. If we substitute the value of 1 3 by 4, this expression will end up with 0.2278. The efficiency is 0.2278, or we can have a 22.7% is the efficiency of the reflex klystron. So this is the theoretical efficiency of the reflex klystron, but practical efficiency of the reflex klystron is only less than 20%. With this, we end up with Introduction of microwaves and the property of microwaves, application and a specific type of the microwave tube called the reflex klystron. Its efficiency is ended with 22.7%.